Well, let's hear another tune. What do you want to do next?
Yeah, I want to do a salmon tune here. I'm going to turn these up a little bit. So these seem to be sliding down there. Hope that works. All right. Here's a salmon tune describing the days we're living. These days, I tend to do a lot of dreaming. I've forgotten all my scheming. I just try to be in the here and now. These days, full of ever more distraction, I can find my satisfaction in the faces of these good friends gathered round. These are the brand new good old days that used to was stuck back there in yesterday. It's never more now than it is today. These are the brand new good old days. These days, I don't think about tomorrow, 'cause the time just can't be borrowed, and tomorrows, they just turn to yesterday. These days, full of ever more distraction, I can find my satisfaction in the verses that I've forgotten anyway. And these are the brand new good old days that used to was stuck back there in yesterday. It's never more now than it is today. These are the brand new good old days. These days, we're just about out of this year, and there's another coming clear, and we're celebrating in that Asheville way. These days, I'm thinking about tomorrow and the time that can't be borrowed, and tomorrows they're gonna turn to yesterdays. These are the brand new good old days that used to was stuck back there in yesterday. It's never more now than it is today. These are the brand new good old days. These are the brand new good old days.
That's Vince Herman on WNCW singing the title track to his band Leftover Salmon's latest album, right? A couple years ago.
Yes,
brand new Good Old Days.
Yeah.
And throwing a new verse in there. I don't know, you're staying in Asheville currently for the shows this weekend. Did you just write one of those verses on your way down here to Spindale?
No, I just made it up right here as I forgot one of the verses. I figured I better see what I can come up with. Wow. I love to improvise when playing. You know, it sometimes it gets you in trouble. You know, you see a rhyme coming that you have to avoid. You know, but luckily it came out all right today.
It sure did. Wow, it's even more spontaneous than just thinking on the ride down here. Live radio, and you just come up with a clever verse about New Year's and Asheville.
Yeah.
It's a smart fellow here, folks. Vince Herman, Leftover Salmon, the brand new Good Old Days. And I'm really pleased to hear you mentioned that Leftover's got a new album coming out next year.
Yeah.
So you guys are keeping busy.
Yeah, we recorded it up there at the Compass Studios in Nashville. Had a bunch of guests, Billy Strings and Oliver Wood, Daryl Anger, bunch of folks, and it's a roots kind of thing. It's a tribute to all those artists that kind of filled our ears and over the years, and kind of the sources we draw from with Leftover Salmon. So it's a collection of cover tunes.
Terrific. We've actually got Oliver Wood coming here next month, bringing his trio, and maybe the Wood Brothers when they have a little something new in the spring, like you guys.
That band is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Love that band. Some of the best stuff going on.
Yeah. Well, I I love what Leftover Salmon does. It fits WNCW so well. The bluegrass roots we call ourselves your flagship bluegrass station, but to put a psychedelic spin on it, to bring in these other country and Cajun styles into it, to just have a lot of fun. What's not to love about all that Leftover Salmon?
Speaking about that kind of thing, the Bluegrass Museum in Owensboro, Kentucky is going to be doing a Jerry Garcia exhibit.
Hello.
Coming up pretty soon, talking about acknowledging that all that Jerry has done for bluegrass music and brought so many people into the fold. Yeah, maybe with a little bit of that psychedelia thrown in.
Interesting.
I'm really happy to have been part of getting that exhibit going, and it's should be open maybe by the end of 2023. But it's a pretty exciting thing.
In Owensboro, Kentucky. What did you contribute?
We were touring the museum, and the director said she'd really like to get a Garcia exhibit in there, and my buddy Cliff and I kind of started the ball rolling and got some things going, and now there's all sort of artifacts coming in, and collection of Jerry related objects, and we've been filming a bunch of interviews with folks like David Nelson and Eric Thompson, and documenting what Jerry brought to the bluegrass world. Glad it's happening.
Right on. That sounds fun. A collection of Jerry-related objects. That sounds like a good thing to check out. Awesome. You were here in our area not long ago for the Earl Scruggs Music Festival, the very first time.
Great festival.
Was it
Boy,
good?
what a great launch for that one. Year one was astounding.
You've been to a lot of festivals, ones that have been around for 30 plus years, and I'm sure once in a while you go to a first-time festival. Sometimes they can kind of be a little shaky getting off the ground. It's hard. Yeah. It's hard to do it. But, yeah, I'm glad to hear you say that it went well.
Well, when you have Jerry Douglas, kind of coordinating who's on the bill, it's bound to be a good one.
Yeah. Your banjo player in Salmon for many years now, Andy Thorne, he's a North Carolina native. He was pleased to be a part of a festival around the pioneer of the bluegrass banjo.
Absolutely. Andy bleeds Tar Heel Blue, so, yeah, it's a good weekend coming up with Andrew Martin. Grew up with Andy, too, and John Stickley won't be able to make it this weekend, but it was going to be the grade school boys getting back together this weekend. So we'll be missing John Stickley and wish he and his wife the best in the days ahead here.
I know you've got all sorts of history and connections and probably some fun memories with folks like Jerry Garcia and John Hartford. His birthday is today. We're celebrating it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And, you alone and with Salmon, you've covered Hartford a bunch over the years. And, Earl Scruggs, we're celebrating his birthday next Friday. His 99th birthday is next Friday.
Wow.
And I think probably there'll be some talk about the second Earl Scruggs Festival. Nice. Any neat stories or quips you have about Earl?
Well, we were lucky enough to get to record with him on the Nashville sessions record that Randy Scruggs produced, and we hung around and got to loiter with Earl and Louise Scruggs for quite a while that day. We recorded with Earl in the morning, and Taj Mahal was coming in the late afternoon, and Earl had never met Taj, so we hung around for a couple hours just waiting to see, and we got a lot of stories, man. Louise Scruggs was just a firecracker and got so much done. She told me about the Live at Vanderbilt record and how that came about. Vanderbilt had contacted her about getting Joan Baez to come do a show at Vanderbilt, and Louise hooked them up with how to get a hold of her. And at the end of the conversation, she said, you should really think about having my husband come and play. And the woman said, you got to understand, this is Vanderbilt University. We will not be having bluegrass music at Vanderbilt. And a year later, the Live at Vanderbilt record was released, one of the best-selling bluegrass albums of all times. Here's to Louise Scruggs. She's a firecracker.
Oh, that's great. I knew there'd be a good Scruggs story that Vince Herman had. Loitering with Earl and Louise. Now, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
You could write a book on that, maybe.
Yeah. Wish I had a lot more of that.